Welcome to The Human Code, the podcast where technology meets humanity, and the future is shaped by the leaders and innovators of today. I'm your host, Don Finley, inviting you on a journey through the fascinating world of tech, leadership, and personal growth. Here, we delve into the stories of visionary minds who are not only driving technological advancement, but also embodying the personal journeys and insights that inspire us all. Each episode, we explore the intersections where human ingenuity meets the cutting edge of technology, unpacking the experiences, challenges, and triumphs that define our era. So, whether you're a tech enthusiast, an inspiring entrepreneur, or simply curious about the human narratives behind the digital revolution, you're in the right place. Welcome to The Human Code. Today, we're honored to welcome Fabio Marquez, an award-winning executive, internationally recognized speaker, and expert in influence, leadership, sales, and service excellence. With over 20,000 hours on stage and a career spanning more than 20 countries, Fabio has helped businesses double, triple, and even 10x their profits while improving customer satisfaction and talent retention. But Fabio's journey wasn't always about influence. Starting as an engineer at IBM, he quickly realized that technical expertise alone wasn't enough. Human connection was the key to success. From overcoming a speech impediment to becoming a world-class speaker, Fabio has mastered the art and science of influence, helping leaders and professionals communicate more effectively, build trust, and create lasting impact. In this episode, we'll dive into Fabio's MAGNA Influence Blueprint, a framework for understanding motivation, aspirations, and decision-making that can transform the way we connect with others. We'll also explore how AI and automation are shaping the future of business and how entrepreneurs can leverage technology without losing authenticity and human touch. Join us for this dynamic conversation on leadership, influence, and the future of work, with insights that will change how you think about success in both business and life. I am here with a good friend now, Fabio Marquez. And what I got to say is Fabio has spent more hours on stage than many people have spent becoming an expert in what they're doing. So the man understands public speaking. He understands how to convey messages. There is a way of influence that he has that we're going to dive into today. But Fabio, one, thank you so much for spending the time with us today. And two, how'd you get interested in the intersection of humanity and technology?
Thank you, Don, for opening this space for us to discuss the art and science of influence. Well, your question is very interesting because, growing up, I had a speech impediment. So the first profession I chose was engineering because I thought I don't have to talk to people. I will deal with machines. And so I started studying to be an associate engineer when I was 14. And then I blended into engineering itself. And I was working with machines. I was working for Siemens, then I was working for IBM. And then something happened when I was working for IBM. I was like an assistant engineer for a very experienced guy. The guy has like 20 years working for IBM. And we were visiting one of his clients. And although he was very experienced and very knowledgeable and competent, for some reason, the level of satisfaction of that customer, that client, was not very high with his services. And then a few months later, he retired. And IBM didn't have a replacement for him and for his position serving IBM and other clients. Actually, we were serving very huge, data processing clients in Brazil. And that I was put as a replacement for him and the most important clients we had. And I was terrified because I had less than a year working for IBM, and I was replacing a guy that had 2 decades working for IBM. So I was kind of terrified. So my strategy, although I still had some problems speaking at that time, whenever I was called to fix a machine in one of our clients, before touching the machine, I was talking to the clients and making sure they knew what I was going to do, how long it was going to take, so they could rearrange their job flow until I was done with the machine. Suddenly, in the next survey they did, the level of satisfaction went up. So everybody was, how is that possible? Fabio is less experienced, less knowledgeable, has less, everything than the other guy. Why are his clients more satisfied now? So then it clicked. It was because I was not only fixing machines, I was fixing the humans as well. I was fixing anxiety. I was avoiding anxiety attacks. I was really dealing with the pressure they were feeling. I was putting myself into their shoes and trying to give them some, ground for them to relax while I was fixing the machines. So that made all the difference, and that clicked in my mind, and that made me really focus in decoding the human nature, how people think, how they behave, how they make decisions.
Yeah.
And then, although I was still an engineer working for IBM, then I went to another company, still working as an engineer for medical equipment. I was studying more and more the science of human behavior and how to interact with other people. And soon enough, in the next company I was working for, we were like a position in 127 place in the rank. And 3 years later, we were number 3.
Congratulations.
Yeah, and the only thing I did differently was I was connecting with our clients in a different way. I was really talking to them. I was present in the moment when they were talking to me. I was listening to them carefully, and I was realizing, okay, this guy is moved by logic. This guy is moved by status. This guy is moved by comfort and convenience. And I was adapting my communication and my message to those things I was uncovering about those people. And that made our organization in Brazil the top one in Latin America, and the third most profitable in the world in our multinational company. And that made me like a young award-winning executive. I was 23, and I won this award, the best executive in the world for that company. I was kind of surprised.
Yeah.
But then I said, wow, this is super powerful. And then I made a decision. This is going to be my whole focus for the rest of my life. So even for other 2 years, I developed my team to replace me because I decided I'm not going to be here. I'm going to open my own consulting company. So I spent 2 years developing my team. And when I left, they continue my legacy. And until today, they are recognized as one of the best in the industry for healthcare medical equipment. And I started in 1996, my own company, and never stopped. So it's 28 years now, giving speeches and workshops in 20 countries about the art and science of influence and how we can, of course, ethically use influence when presenting, when leading, when selling, when negotiating.
I got to say that like every time I hear your story, it just becomes more interesting, and like the passion that you bring to the table is exceptional. When you talk about the ability for you to fix problems technically was secondary to your ability to connect with people. And I've also noticed that in my career as well, that like I went from Barclays, which, highly regulated environment, to working for a vending machine company. And we made the software and the hardware for the vending machines, and very interesting. But my one customer was Coca-Cola. And like I was 3 days into the job, and I was already on site with the customer running the project. So similar to you, trial by fire type of perspective. And it wasn't going well. Like at first, there was a complete disconnect in the tech, but then there was also just the disconnect in the people who are working on it. And so bridging that gap, what ended up really helping was before we would have status calls, I would call the project manager, tell him what my status was before we got on the call. And even if it was an absolute dumpster fire, his executives would be like, you guys used to beat up on Finley, but now he tells you the world's on fire and you guys are okay with it. And it's because I was able to make him part of the solution and to help just be like, hey, here's what's happening. You're not going to be surprised, but here's where we are going. So just the same way that you're saying, like the anxiety, the fears, we help to calm that down.
Yeah.
And it's been super helpful. That project manager has since left and started his own business. And I sit on the board of his business now. So like it really is like an exceptional space to be when you recognize that like we're doing business with people, and we just happen to have technology as the tool that we expose on this.
Yeah, technology is supposed to serve humans, not the other way around.
That's so true. So true. And so you've been consulting for 28 years now. Mm-hmm. With your own business. How has the evolution of your influence and the practices changed over those almost 3 decades?
Well, by practicing throughout all those years and by serving so many different industries, like 300 plus companies I have served in all kinds of industries, financial institutions, in manufacturing, food, beverage, insurance. So I was little by little finding the common ground because every industry has its specifics, but at the same time, they all have the same thing, human. So what is the common ground between all humans, no matter your profession, no matter your education? So little by little, I was finding that. At the beginning, I was just thinking about why people buy things, why people buy products, services, or ideas. Then I was expanding, okay, can I use that to leadership as well? And not be only attached to the Maslow pyramid of needs? Yes. So we can also use the same reasons people buy ideas and products and services. They can buy dreams. They can buy a leader they can believe on. They can buy anything, even hope they can buy because of those things. And okay, and what else? I was asking myself. Well, depending on the moment you are throughout the day, you may be thinking more as a user of those things you're buying, or maybe as a specification expert, or maybe as a financial decision maker. So I need to really identify not only your motives to do something, in what thinking mode you are at that moment, to really connect quickly to your line of thought to better interact with you. And on top of that, your predominant behavior. Because again, based on the pressures that you are feeling from life or what's going on, you can be more in a dominant mode, more in the influential mode, more in harmonizer or analytical mode. That also impacts the way you make decisions and the power I have to influence you or not. So little by little, I was putting together. So behaviors I need to be aware of, ways of thinking I need to be aware of, and motives to buy or motives to action I need to be aware of. And I was little by little creating what I call now the MAGNA influence blueprint. So it's a complete map to help me influence people, not only once, but build promising win-win relationships throughout the weeks, months, and years. That's why, I have clients that have hired me over and over again for more than 100 times. And they keep hiring me again and referring me to other. I never spent really much in advertisement so far. Maybe in 28 years, I spent like $1,000 in ads. And all my clients came from my previous clients opening doors for me and new clients just because they believe I can add value to their friends as well. And that's actually is a result of my influence map, because I created a system where silently I create this seed inside their brain to talk about me to other people. If, of course, I was able to add real value to their experience. So everything is very ethical, every based on truth and real value. Otherwise, it doesn't work.
And I can definitely appreciate that, because we've got to always come back to like, what is the ethics that we are? What are the values and the intention that we're bringing into these moments? For me, I only work with friends now. It's kind of this thing. And even though we may not be friends when we first meet, I want to express that as the intention, because I care more about you than I do about like any one project that we'll end up doing together. And although like we are going to be delivering work to you and performing highly capable things and making sure that your project is successful, it's more the relationship that ends up mattering. When you're looking at your influence map and the creation that you have here, where do you start? Are there certain earmarks that you look for in how a person is communicating or how they're making decisions? Because I can imagine that your map is probably, it could be quite detailed. And at the same time, you're applying it in real time during communication.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, the first step is connect. So my first intention is, how can I connect with that person?
Yeah.
So the first thing that we can notice very easily is how people are behaving, because that is reflected on their body language and tone of voice. So if people are speaking with lots of energy, I know they're either in the dominant behavior or influential behavior, because that's the way people in those behaviors, they communicate with lots of energy. So, okay, either they're in dominant or influential behavior. Now I see the focus of their conversation. If they're asking or talking about results, goals, options, tasks, processes, dominant mode. If they're talking about people and relationship, influential mode. So it's immediate. In seconds, I can say, okay, that person is in dominant mode, influential mode, analytical mode, or a harmonizer mode. Harmonizer and analytical, they speak slower and in a calmer tone of voice like this. So if people are
Okay.
talking like this, I know they're not dominant or influential. They're a harmonizer or analytical. And if they're more focused on tasks, analytical or numbers. If they're more focused on or how people feel and friendships, harmonizer. So I identify the behavior first. And of course, I adapt to that behavior. The very first thing I do to connect with that person.
How often do you see people switching
Well,
the
depending on
model
the,
of communication? Yeah.
you can even lead that change. When you start talking to someone and that someone is in the dominant mode, many people start talking to you in the dominant mode because they're afraid of you. They don't know you, they don't trust you.
Okay.
So they assume the dominant position, like, don't mess with me, okay? I know what I'm talking about. I'm the boss here, I'm the client, whatever.
Little
So
chest beating,
yeah,
right?
so like this, they start with the dominant mode. When they realize I'm not against them, when they realize they can trust me, when they realize I am connected with them and I really respect them for who they are, sometimes they switch to analytical. So they calm down and talk more about what they want specifically in numbers, or they
Okay.
start talking about what they want in terms of relationship and feelings, how they want to feel about this. So I know if they're switching to analytical, to harmonizer, or even to influencer. So yes, we can lead that change when we make people feel more comfortable with us. They can relax and they become a softer version of their behavior, easier to deal with.
That is incredible. So, how has technology played into your world? I mean, you have an engineering background, you have the experience on that side, but I'm curious of like how in the public speaking and the influence world has technology been influencing you? And more specifically, the latest iteration of AI that we've had in the last 2 years with generative AI. And also, I don't know if you've played around with GPT 4.0 advanced voice.
Not yet, not yet.
Okay. But going back to the question of how's tech influenced you?
For me, since the very beginning, even before AI and everything else, I always saw technology as a way to free my mind and free my time so I can be more human, so I can better connect with human beings. So everything I do in my businesses, I try to use technology to free my time. So everything that is repetitive, operational tasks that are repetitive, I try to implement some kind of technology to automate that. Just to give an example, I generate more revenue now than I generated like 5 years ago, and I have 1/6 of the headcount that I had. So I had much less people generating more revenue because a lot of things are automated by technology. Okay. In terms of AI, I use AI to really test some ideas and to see what is out there. So let's say I want to see how people are talking about influence. So I go to AI and say, okay, write me something about, and I try to be very specific with what I want. So the result I know is AI went to all over the world and collected all kinds of, and consolidated everything, and boom, that's it. That's the consolidated version of everything that's going on about the topic. So that gives me like a sense, am I still connected with what is really important to people? And I can do that with sales, with relationship, any topic. And AI will give me like an extract, a summary of everything out there that people care
Yes.
about. And that will help me stay on my toes. And am I still communicating with people the right way? But I have to confess something to you, my friend. The more and more I use AI to give me those answers, the more and more I realize that people are desperate for authenticity
Yes.
and truth. So you can have the best sales letter or sales video or sales page in the world. If they don't feel authenticity in there, if they feel like it's very well written, amazing copyright, but no truth, no authenticity, no feeling.
Yeah.
And we are getting more and more savvy as humans to sense if there is truth and authenticity behind those amazing copyrights because of everything that's going on right around us.
I mean, you're definitely hitting on a note of what 2024 has been for YouTube. Well, is like if you see before 2024, it was all just flashy banner styles, kind of like fast hitting sort of space. And that was what was trending. But now you see the authentic creator coming through. And that process of being who you are and expressing that into both your offer, your sales, what however it comes out in your business is incredibly important.
Yeah.
But you also hit on something that I'd like to come back to, that you now have 1/6 the staff that you did before. And we've seen this trend in the business, in the world, where in the 80s, for me to generate $10 million worth of revenue, I needed a team of 50. Today, I need like 1 or 2.
Yeah.
And we're getting to the point where even Sam Altman is saying, he's got a text message thread going where they're like, they're waiting or they're betting on when they're going to see the first $1 billion company that's run by one person. And I'm curious if the techniques that you have encountered and you've developed over the years, it can be applied on the influence of ourselves and an understanding of our own awareness. Because I think in these environments, like I see and I can hear from you that you are very authentic in your passion for the work that you're doing. And that makes it probably very easy for you to actually do this work because of the strong connection there. But as we get to these smaller and smaller companies, how do people find their own passion to connect in the same way that you're connecting to Magna and the influence that you provide?
Well, one thing that I realized a few years ago, in the future, most companies will be small businesses. As you said, like one-man show can run a $1 billion organization in the future. So
Yeah.
one thing that I once had 120 people working for me. That was in 21. At 2001 to 2001, I had 120 people. But I realized that people actually, they grow faster when they run their own business. When they are employees, they kind of relax too much because they trust the company will take care of them. It's like a small version of the government taking care of me. Oh no, the company will take care of me. So I don't have to really be the best I can be. If I fail 1 or 2 days, that's all right. The company will take care of me. When they are really self-employed or they are owners of their own business, they don't think that way. They say, I have to be my very best every single day because nobody's taking care of me. I have to take care of myself. So
True.
the idea of owning your own business or being a self-employed is more conducive to achieve excellence than to be an employee. So I decided many years ago that I don't want to have many employees. I want to have a lot of business partners. They are solopreneurs. They work connected with me, but they don't owe me anything. I don't owe them anything. This is a business relationship. I see them as my clients, not as my employees. And they see me as their client, not their boss. So we see each other as clients. And if I see everybody as client, I treat everybody to the best of my ability. I do my very best to please my clients. And they do their very best to please me and to make me happy and to make me more than happy, to make me successful. And I want to make them successful as well. If everybody's successful, everybody wins, everybody grows, even if we are one-man shows. So the future is technology is available to everybody. You don't need to have like 10, 20 employees anymore to grow. You can have like 20 robots. You can have like 20 softwares. You can have like 40 softwares. I have like 40 softwares running right now. So you can have softwares running things for you, and you free your time to be connecting with other human beings, be doing business, to be really understanding each other and see how can I help you, how you can help me. And this will create more responsibility, more awareness, more human connection, because we are free to grow without having to slave people into our employees.
I think that is fantastic.
I'm not saying that it's bad to have employees. I'm just saying that
No. I think
more and
what
more
I'm hearing,
small companies will grow without having to have employees or many employees.
well, I've been running Findustries now for 11 years, coming up on 12 years now. So we're getting to a dozen. I have told people countlessly that starting a business and being an entrepreneur has been the best self-development tool that I have ever had.
Mhm.
Because if I'm not hitting my numbers, I'm not hitting my numbers. Like there is something here that isn't. There's nothing wrong with my clients. There's nothing wrong with the potential clients. But if I'm not able to convey, like you said, with authenticity, what we can do and how we can provide that and how we can help them meet their needs, then that's going to hurt. If our, team is struggling, that's on me.
Mhm.
And to be able to have that setting in which you have, your partners as your clients and your client of theirs as well, you're setting that stage for like, hey, we're all creating success here. Do you feel that it is a motivation by fear or a motivation of passion and love? What helps set that stage?
Motivation by purpose.
By purpose. Okay.
Yeah. Because, as I'm not their boss anymore,
Yeah.
I'm not their boss, they're not obligated to serve me or to work with me. So they will only work with me if they see purpose in what I'm doing and if that purpose is aligned with their purpose. So this is true leadership. This is true influence. It's not influenced by hierarchy. It's not influenced by power, by
Yeah.
authority. It's influenced by purpose. So when they feel like I'm helping them achieve their purpose and they feel like they're helping me achieve my purpose, we are aligned in purpose. Everybody works trying their very best to deliver excellence. So we defeat the mediocrity thinking. Because when I say, oh, the company will take care of me if I fail, that's all right. I don't need to be my best today. People will forgive me. I just give my boss like an excuse that I'm not so well today. He's going to forgive me. He's going to cover for me. So again, I was an employee and I was not mediocre. I'm not saying every employee is mediocre.
No, exactly. Yeah.
Right. And of course, we know that the most successful employees are the ones who entrepreneurial spirit. So they don't have excuses. They go for it and they get things done. So of course, every company that is blessed to have employees with entrepreneurial spirit, they're good to go. We have stages in life, and many people need to go through the employment first so they can understand how to run their own business later. That's all right. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that, the way I'm setting my organizations is I am connecting with my partners based on purpose and in this pursuit of excellence. I tell everybody, and that's why we created the International Excellence Society. What is International Excellence Society? Is the congregation of all my partners. So we believe that mediocrity is the mother of all evil. When people feel mediocre, they don't feel they're good enough to win by the rules. So they bend or break the rule. They don't feel like they're good enough to win honestly. So they lie, they steal, they scheme to fool other people. But when you feel like you're good enough because you're living excellence every day, you're not afraid. When you're not able to do something, you go back to study and learn and evolve. You don't have excuse like, oh, I don't know, so I'm going to lie. No, you don't know, so you're going to study and learn and grow. And then you come back better. That's the way we think. And that's how we use technology to allow us to learn faster, to grow faster. Even AI can be a good teacher. If you have any doubt, use AI to give you some answers, but don't use AI to replace you.
Exactly. We have the statement of we're using it for augmenting intelligence. It's not replacing
Great.
intelligence. It's basically that tool to help be reflective of
Perfect.
where you're at.
Yeah.
God, I've enjoyed this so much. I feel like there's plenty more questions, and we're definitely going to have to bring you back so we can dive deeper into some of these areas. But what's one thing that you would just like to leave the audience with? How can they best prepare themselves for, embracing more human connection?
Well, let's simplify then. The MAGNA influence map is huge, of course. You need to study a little bit deeper, but let me give you the fundamentals. So everybody here listening can start applying tomorrow or today if they want to. Okay.
Yes.
So the reason I gave my influence map, the name MAGNA Influence Blueprint, is because I created an acronym for MAGNA. Okay. MAGNA means something of great distinction, something of great importance, great significance. So MAGNA influence would be the greatest of all kinds of influence. But also I created an acronym for MAGNA. So MAGNA, motivations, aspirations, and goals, nurturing agreement. So the very simple thing about MAGNA, how to influence other people is, okay, how can I uncover their motivations? Motivations means motives to action. That's the source of the word motivation is motive to action. They put it together, motivation. So what is your motive to do something? If I want you to buy from me, what would be your motive to buy from me? If I wanted to work with me, what would be the motive? And of course, they are related to your purpose, to your beliefs. So if I'm interested in listening to you and understand your beliefs, your purpose, your values, I start connecting with your true motivations, your true motives. As long as I realize what motivates you to do something, I'm automatically more connected to you because I can adapt my communication to say things that are connected to your beliefs, your values, your motivation. The second thing is, okay, once I understand your motivations, where you're coming from. Where are you going to now? Your aspirations. Because I have to be the bridge between where you're coming from and where you want to go. That's how you see me as a valuable resource to connect with when you see me as a bridge. So you have motives to do something, motivations, and then you have aspirations, where you want to go, who you want to be. So I start asking you about your dreams, your major objectives in life, and I start understanding your aspirations. And then to really build the bridge, then I ask you about your short-term goals. So motivations, aspirations, and your short-term goals. The step-by-step you need to reach your dreams, motivated by your purpose, beliefs, and values. So when I understand your goals, your short-term goals, I see with clarity how I can contribute to your goals, how I can be a resource for you to help you accomplish those step-by-step goals until you reach your destination. And so motivation, aspirations, and goals, I'm ready to nurture agreements. I would say something like this. I see that you want to change your business because you're not satisfied with the results you have had so far. The kinds of clients you have been working with are not aligned to your beliefs and values. Is that right? Your motivations? Yeah, that's right. And I see that you want to become a company that is a reference of excellence. People come to you because they want to achieve higher levels of success using your service. That's your aspiration, to be that resource people come looking for. Is that right? Yes. And you have like 3 main goals to start in that journey. You say, yeah, that's right. If I can help you go through those steps and achieve your destination faster, would you be willing to work with me? You go, of course.
Absolutely.
So I just need to understand motivation, aspiration, and goals, and I'm ready to nurture agreements. So this is the fundamentals of Magna influence. And of course, when you understand the whole map, you know how not only to connect and influence, but to keep that connection growing and opening new doors to you in other areas as well.
That is absolutely fantastic. So when we post this, what I want to see from our audience is how they've applied Magna in their lives. So basically, it's going to require people to listen and then come back a week later to post it. But you know what? We'll see what the best comments are. I know for our next conversation, I will also be showing up with the expression of how I'm doing this. Once again, Fabio, thank you so much for spending time with us today. It's been a blast.
Thank you for the opportunity. You know, the more people know about this, the better the world is going to be.
Absolutely. Thank you for tuning into The Human Code, sponsored by Findustries, where we harness AI to elevate your business. By improving operational efficiency and accelerating growth, we turn opportunities into reality. Let Findustries be your guide to AI mastery, making success inevitable. Explore how at findustries.co.